Freebird. Coming to you not quite live, Pineda Studios. We're Bad Year Records production. I'm Sascha Saintevic. With me is Briano Hawk. Briano, what's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
Alright, I suppose.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Seem a little down.
Yeah, I'm kind of depressed,
What are you depressed with?
Leonardo DiCaprio finally won one, and
Even though we said he never would last time. No, that's not right. We said that if he didn't get it for Django Unchained, then he shouldn't get it for anything else.
Yeah.
So that was our exact statement. Not that he would never get it, it's just that nothing will compare to that performance.
Yeah. So a little down about that one.
We'll take a second to mourn. Okay, that's long enough.
Okay,
let's get straight into it. What is your knowledge of the Juggalo gathering? That's a random topic. See, people might think that we pre-screen these topics. No, we come up with this stuff like on the spot.
I actually had no clue what the topic was this time. So
usually you don't. I tell you all right, just we sit down like 4 minutes going into right before we start recording. I'm what do you guys want to talk about? How about we talk about this? And that's usually how we come up with this stuff. We're like, let's just shoot it and let's just go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, the reason why I bring them up, I want to talk about the idea we kind of touched on it last time towards the end, and we said this is something we can get into more. The idea of music subcultures, where an entire culture, mode of dress, and mode of behavior can develop from sort of a close cluster of individuals who enjoy certain music. Like you see that in punk especially, and also the offshoots of punk, the entire goth movement, the entire goth subculture. It developed as a music subculture, and now it's evolved to the point where a lot of people who identify as goth don't even really know that it's a music subculture. They just think it's a mode of dressing, a mode of behavior, a mode of attitude that you happen to have, a lifestyle. It actually began strictly as a music culture, and goth was an offshoot of punk. It sort of has a little bit of glam in it as well. Another example would also be takes on a straight edge. Colloquially, what does straight edge mean to most people, to the ones who are familiar with, it's someone who doesn't drink, someone doesn't smoke, someone doesn't take drugs. However, straight edge was not that universal for a long time, and to a lot of people who are into the straight edge punk scene, it's still not. If you don't actually listen to straight edge punk music, you're not really considered straight edge. You're just some dude that doesn't drink or smoke or do drugs.
Yeah.
But that's not where the colloquial term of this subculture. There's a lot of people identifying as straight edge who have no clue about any of the music that usually goes along with it, and I actually don't think much of the music is that good. To be honest, a lot of it sounds pretty too.
Well, I think a lot of it though is straight edge got a connotation of being like a religious thing as well. So if you told somebody, oh well, you're straight edge, they think, oh well, you're devout Christian or something or other, and so I think that kind of pulled away from some of the aspects of what straight edge was, when it first came out and what it is now, because of the fact that, religious people took it over and they ruined it for everyone else, because, religious people are stupid.
Took my straight edge away.
Yeah. But anyways, that's not the topic.
Well, that's not the topic. That might be the topic somewhere down the line. Two staunch, militant, unbaptized atheists talking about our disdain, our anti-theism. Topic for another day, another podcast, perhaps.
It's like I'm not atheist. I'm agnostic.
Go fuck yourself. You're so agnostic. I'm spiritual, not religious. I don't identify with a typical god. I identify with Mother Gaia. I don't like New Agey people any more than that.
Yeah.
But sticking to that, well, it's talking about how it can take on sort of a religious feel. What I started off with talking about the juggalos.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who are really dedicated.
Yeah.
I mean, you met a juggalo in your life.
Yes,
I know I've met one or two juggalos in my life. They are dedicated to this, and they have this. annual get together. They call it the gathering, where they come together, and there it sort of transcended the music.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want to touch on how? Do you think that just the music has the power to really like inspire people to that point, or do you think this is people who would otherwise have this sort of mindset anyway? Like they're more likely to sort of cluster together and cling on to these sort of symbols and things like that, and really like not just go beyond I like the music, but like start identifying with it. Like it sort of starts an identity movement for them.
I don't know. I kind of think the whole juggalette thing is kind of stupid. You know, I mean, it's someone identify that much of many people, I guess, or that big of a group identifies with the clown posse, you know, type thing. It's stupid because I've listened to their music and it's okay. There's some songs I'm like, oh, hey, that's kind of funny, or, you know, that's a whatever, but I don't see how it got to be the way it is, you know, big groups, and they, you know, talk about so many whatever murders and what are, you know, stupid stuff.
They're homicidal psychotic clowns. I mean, that's the, not saying that's what they are, but that's sick. The image, that's the character. Yeah,
but I mean, that's the thing is they push that off onto their fans, and their fans emulate that as well, and it's stupid because they're pretty much a bunch of rednecks with you know, face paint. It's what, to me, that's what I think of it. You know, like the Insane Clown Posse, or they're a bunch of Detroit degenerates who, you know, mention whatever else, but they're not really that good. You know, and all their people are just bunch of backwoods whatevers, and that's coming from somebody who was technically with a juggalette.
Back in the day,
way back when. But the thing is I didn't know she was a juggalette until I met her in person. And yeah, she was. Did she show up with the full face? No. She was like, oh yeah, I listen to these guys, and I was like, oh hey, cool, whatever. You know, I didn't speak my mind too much because, you know, I'm young and stupid.
Yeah,
it was an attractive female. I'm like, ooh.
Well, I think that might be how a lot of teenagers can introduce to a lot of subcultures. like
yeah,
not so much to many of them, but going away from, look, we obviously are not fans of ICP, as
yes.
You know, as the people in the know call them. Like, we're not fans of the music, but I'm just interested in this phenomenon. Like, where, especially, it always starts out when you're young. Usually, I don't see many like people who live their life until they're like 30, 35. Then suddenly they're like, wow, this music subculture is really what I'm going to get into. It's something you have to almost start in when you're almost like mid-teens, early teens.
It's usually
you feel a little bit withdrawn. It's people who usually are considered a little bit of the outcasts, a little bit outsiders. You know, we were we were prime to be in that group, although we really didn't.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Is, I mean, the genres or styles of music you listen to throughout your life kind of stick with you from when you're young. You know, you don't really move out of that whole thing. You know, like old rockers and metalheads or whatever from the 80s, they still stick to that, you know, 80s stuff. And if they listen to more modern rock, they usually say, oh, this is crap. This is, you know, not the golden age of you know, what the real rock is, and the finger flying, you know, blah, blah, blah. And to me, I think that stuff is crap. But other people, like, you know, whatever. And now the newer generations are listening to that stuff. They're like following that whole 80s and retro vibe stuff. And that's the thing, is I think because of that, all the new music and stuff, and like the younger people, they're going to have a broader horizon of music, as crappy as some of it is, but they're going to have a brighter horizon because of the fact that there's all sorts of different styles now, and they're falling into that, oh, well, I like this, you know, genre more than I like this other one, or they're combining the new wave music or the, you know, what are the rap metal, but it's not even called that anymore because it's just, you know, emo punk or whatever.
Yeah, I think that Limp Bizkit tarnished the term rap metal because a lot of people sort of lumped them into that forever. But you touched on two things that I think we can get into more. You said that people tend to stick with the music that they listen to. I agree. They tend to do that.
Yeah.
But so like the image that comes along with something like the goth image, people actually do tend to grow out of that. Like I explicitly remember people freshman year who were all like, I'm 100% goth. They actually didn't like the term goth, even though they were clearly goth. They're like, this is who I am. It is not a thing. It's not anything. It's who I am. But then by the time the senior year,
they changed
90% to 99%. Even though they might still listen to the same music, they just don't feel the need to act that way. At least by the time they get to college, the freshman year of college, time they're 20 years old, they just don't feel that anymore.
See, like that. That's the thing is like there are certain genres like the goth thing and whatever that you kind of grow out of, but you don't grow out of in the sense that you if you never really considered yourself that type of thing, like the goth, you never really called yourself goth. You're like, oh no, I'm not goth, I'm emo or whatever. You grow out of it, and even if you do consider yourself like the goth, straight goth stuff, you grow out of the childish aspect of it, of always
the
black
theatrics.
And the always black and the whatever mopiness. You grow into like, okay, well, I'm going to be an adult, I need to act more, whatever. But you still like the goth culture, but you get more the Renaissance goth, which is a whole different look, and it's creepy, it's not creepy, it's fashionable, but it's stupid, and so I think that's what some of the more people who are like true, like what they call themselves the true goth, and they don't whatever, they kind of grew up out of the whole face paint and makeup and stuff, and they move more onto, well, I'm going to use more of a the Renaissance type of goth look and use that type of, not lifestyle, but that kind of mentality in a sense, which is not all mopey and depressing. It's kind of artsy,
Yeah.
And then you have those who are the grunge rockers. Me.
Yeah.
It's obvious I'm a Nirvana shirt on again. It's my favorite band. It's it's something it's not something that I'm like, oh well, I'm grunge, I'm whatever, I'm baggy or not baggy, but torn up jeans and whatever. It's like, no, it's just my culture or my style has changed somewhat, but it hasn't, because I still wear, the flannel shirts and the torn up jeans and everything else. And I'm kind of just like, whatever, roll out of bed and just go to work. I got to, brush my hair and do this and blah, 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 and take 5 hours to get ready. I was like, I just go, that's still kind of that same grunge mentality, but I'm an adult. I'm not like, oh, well, I gotta, do this and have my hair this way and did it. It was like, no, it's just, this is the look I have now. It's just what I'm comfortable with.
Well, a lot of times these styles for an individual do, even though I think a lot of times they start out as forms of individuality, especially when you're younger. When you're 15, it's really important to you to have, to separate yourself from others, especially if you don't really know where you stand. You don't have an identity of your own already figured out. So you sort of start experimenting a little bit more, with looks and styles, makeup, face paint. Some people go down that route. Eyeliner. But then the practicality of life forces you to sort of take it down bit by bit until you sort of abandon it completely. Because a lot of times if you want to find a job, even if it's, some cool job at a record store somewhere, a lot of times they will think like that's a cool job. You still have to be presentable to them.
Yeah.
God, you can't be too over the top. Depending, of course, we live in Austin, Texas. You might be able to get away with that.
Yeah.
Well, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on the other hand, you might not.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing is, depending on what the job market you're going for. Like if you're trying to go to Hot Topic, you can still dress with the goth look and the eyeliner and stuff. Heck, I just recently saw the goofiest looking dude I thought ever. His glasses and beard just still looked like a nerd in a sense to me, but he had like eyeliner on. He's trying to be goth. He had like the whole dark eyes and goth teenage thing, lip liner, dark lipstick. And I'm like, dude, you're like 40. You look like you're, way too old to dress like that, but you're still trying to do that whole goth thing. Is it because of your job, because you're at Hot Topic? Yes, I said Hot Topic. Or is it, because that's just who you are? That's just your style. Because, a lot of those like the, Spencer's and Hot Topic and stuff like that, they do still bring in that culture, style. And they do still have some of some of the workers there still use that, same type of dress, but some of them which is funny because I've walked into a couple of them. They have more of the new agey goth thing, which is more like the what do you call it? The douchebags.
The hipsters.
Hipsters, yeah, they have more of that hipster look, but they a little bit of goth flair, a little darker thing to it, and it's like, well, I guess that's more of the old Renaissance style.
Yeah, when people going back, it's also a lot of that is people sort of going back to the 80s style, like channeling like I can dress up like Urkel, but I'm still kind of good looking, and that's sort of the hipster thing. It's good looking Urkels. like walking around like I can wear suspenders and thick rim glasses that I don't need.
Like Stefan.
Yeah, that's it. It's a combination of Stephen Urkel and Stefan Urkel. References nobody born like after 1999 is going to get. Nobody knows what in the world I'm talking about right now. To all you old timers out there listening, we feel you. The part that you mentioned about how a lot of them they'll go into this is just who they are, and they will always say why they want to get into this music culture, because sometimes they'll get interested in the music because they see the look and they see others have the look and they become interested in that, and they feel like in order to be accepted within the goth community, in order to get accepted within a punk community, in order to get accepted within the juggalo community, or any other subculture you want to think of, I need to, the Grateful Dead, that goes in before. Geez. Now there's a cult-like community.
Yes.
That's
still, which is weird because they haven't been around. Strong. They haven't been around for 10 years.
Yeah, that's something a lot of people.
Jerry Garcia died, a while back, and yet still there's a big following. A lot of people never Dead and stuff.
That might be like the outlier of a lot of people don't really grow out of it, because it's not like newer, younger people are really getting into it. Maybe a few are, again, the retro vibe thing we talked about, but it's not really like a lot of the people who are the fans now were the fans back then.
Yeah.
The ones, the deadheads.
Yeah, the deadheads.
A lot of the ones
true
are pretty much the same. But if somebody feels like they need to dress a certain way in order to be and listen to certain music, they sort of not force themselves, but they feel implored to start listening to certain music and bands and dress in accordance to that. Are they, and they do it, to express individually, are they really being individuals at that point, or is that just more of the conformity that they so want to go against it because they're the conformists out there? I don't want to do but if your whole if you spend hours upon hours of your time to look a certain way, even if it's just to look like you just got out of bed, but it took you an hour and a half to get that look, are you really being an individual at that point, or are you really just sort of selling yourself to this movement that you think is cool, and you want the other people there to think that you're super cool?
See, that's
gets into a little loop.
Yeah, it does. That's the thing, is it's hard to tell what would be or what's individuality nowadays, because of the fact that everything has been done, and you fall into a group in a sense because you like the music. You happen to find somebody or come across somebody or made friends with somebody who you're like, hey, I kind of like this different look that they're doing, so I'm going to kind of emulate them and listen to what they're listening to and get through that way. And you find your new genre of music or your style that you're, clothing and whatever. And so, your individuality isn't really individuality, but it is in a sense that you put your own flair to it, but it matches everything else and everyone else who kind of does that.
Right. But
so it's a very thin line to say, oh yeah, no, I do what I do because, I wanted to. I came into this as okay, well, your friends all do the same thing. So it's kind of a group thing that you guys are falling into. So you're not really individuals. Yeah. If you're the only goth kid in a whole town of Hicks and no one else there is does it, you're the only one who's the black clothes or whatever, and you're all goth, and everyone else is cowboy hats and nut huggers, which is an old term that I grew up with in my hometown.
Thank George Michael if you didn't grow up in the 80s.
Yeah, and they're all walking around like, howdy ma'am and all that, and you're just like, oh, life's so dark. Yeah, you would be an individual, but you're going to be, if you're there, you're going to get those weirdest looks, and you're either going to put up with it, or you're going to follow, other people are going to find you in a group, and you're going to become a group of that. So you won't be an individual in a sense anymore, but how much of it would be you as an individual getting it going, or you being yourself, to you're doing it because you're trying to fit in,
Yeah, and maybe it's if you're too preoccupied about both fitting in but also being an individual. Because I know you and I, we sort of fall into it, like we like the things we like. Like a lot of times people don't expect us to like certain things. Like people expect you to like heavy metal. You told me one time, but then you listen to heavy metal, you're not like a metal head. It's not like your main genre. You're more grunge or something like that. People are surprised sometimes that I listen to punk music or something like that. When we had that whole conversation about classical music for a while, we were busting it out and name dropping, all our favorite composers. A lot of people wouldn't expect that just looking at us. They're like, who the hell are these two guys talking about? Like the greats, or the classical music legacy. But that might not fall into the whole thing, though. It's not a subculture that is. I don't think there's really in order for it to become a subculture, it has to really go into you go beyond the music. It's not just I like this music and there's other there might be a whole culture behind it. I don't really care. Maybe some of them are cool, maybe not. But mainly it's music. But it starts to transcend the music, as I said. Yeah. They don't to be a juggalo, to go back to them, because they're the easiest example people can picture, because it goes just beyond just how you look. It goes into your whole lifestyle.
Yes.
It goes beyond the music you listen to. It really becomes more like a feeling, like they often use the word family. Like they think of themselves, the juggalos and juggalos think of themselves as this weird family, extended family. And that goes to a whole nother level than just liking music.
That's the one thing that has always kind of perplexed me, is the fact that it's a massive group of people who don't really know each other, but once they find each other, they literally network. They do become a family, and it's weird that it's the Insane Clown Posse followers, the juggalos and juggalettes, are like that. You can look at many different styles of music. They don't have that. Punk culture. A lot of punk people hate each other. It's like, oh, you're not punk. You're a true punk. And juggalos, juggalettes, and all them. They just no, hey, ICP, yeah, oh yeah, the concert's coming up. Hey, have you heard this? And their whole networking thing, the whole thing that they do. It's funny that they're so combined and intertwined with each other.
There was a precursor there. If you think about the whole beatniks movement, a lot of people don't even know that began as a music subculture. They would meet a jazz and things like that. Like people who were sort of bohemian in a time, well, it has the word beat in it. But that became, being a beatnik also then the song became about a style, a certain flair, and also a certain ideology that's you sort of held to, like the bohemian lifestyle. It's a free expression, man. Also heavy drug use.
That and sunglasses at night with the little soul patch and the
turtlenecks and the little beret thing. Hey, daddy-o. And also you start developing your own language. So it's dark, and it happened. The beatniks and I'm guessing juggalos have their own way of talking too.
Oh yes.
And I know I'm sure many of the other subcultures have that. So when it becomes a thing, but do you think that this is all just harmless fun? A lot of people say, look, it's just harmless fun. It doesn't mean, a lot of people can separate the two. During the day, I'm a hard-working professional. At night, I'm a goth kid, emo, juggalo beatnik. But a lot of people, they don't separate the two. They will take it. It's like a gang warfare.
That's the thing that I have noticed with at least the juggalo culture, is they kind of are that all their time, the whole time. They don't separate the two. A lot of it, at least a lot of them I've seen and met, they really just don't separate the two. They're like, oh, I'm a juggalo. That's what I do. Whatever. And that's what I say. They're a bunch of rednecks and backwoods people, because they seem like idiots to me, and they don't change like whatever they are, they usually work like McDonald's and just low income jobs and stuff because
no shame,
they're not going to change their ways to try to get a better paying job to support their family. And yes, some of them have kids and families and all that, and yet they're doing the juggalo thing. It's like you're a 40-year-old man and you're wearing the clown makeup and you're going to concerts and you're doing all this and whatever, and you're chatting with like 12-year-olds, you're getting into it, and so on and so forth, and you're trying to be like the OG in a sense because you've been around it for longer than them, and you're literally that's what you're seeing.
Is that something we're proud of? You're just like a bloody clown in your 40s. That's supposed to be something that you're proud of.
Some of them are. I've met one who's it's about my age, is a little older than me. It's all he does. He's a juggalo. It's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, we're picking on a culture we don't like. What about cultures that we do respect? Would you say the same thing to somebody who in their 40s, they wear like the punk, like the Zuli, like spiked hair with the gels, and they wear like the chain necklace, and they wear like the MASH t-shirt and the torn up jeans, and they do like they still do that to be tough, like the snarl, and they try to be tough, but they're like 46 years old and they work as a sandwich artist at Subway. Like, would you criticize it because that's music that you actually have you two identify more with the music?
That's the thing is, I think I think they're stupid too in that sense. But I mean, punk culture, that's the weird thing, because yes, I do like that. Mm-hmm. I like punk. You like the music. And so yes, the punk culture I know a little bit more behind. And so yes, I could see him doing that. It was like, okay, you're trying to be true to the punk, whatever, but you're also working at Subway. You're working in whatever, you have a job. So you're not punk because you are actually not going against the system. You're not going against the system. You're not anarchist in a sense. So you're not really punk. And to that, you're stupid. If you're going to be working, you're going to be doing this stuff, you should probably make a better life for yourself and get, regular dressed and try to work a, better job at least. Not to say like working Subway all your life or, JCPenney or McDonald's or any of that.
You and I work many shit jobs too. Retail shit jobs.
But I mean, the thing is, it's you at least try to dress up normally to advance in whatever you choose to do. But and then in your off time, in your off time, you dress the other ways and stuff. Yeah, so it is different for me, I guess, talking about the punk people doing it.
But you seem to have more respect for them because you don't really care about the juggalos. You don't give a shit.
Yeah, and I like the thing is, I do have a very bad opinion about juggalos in a sense. Like I said, they're a bunch of backwards freaking rednecks to me.
What would you say? All of them are?
Every single one I've ever seen and met, they just look stupid to me. I've met punk people who are just all against it and they do the punk stuff, but getting into conversations with them, they're actually somewhat intelligent. Some of them. So it's like I have the different mindset, I guess.
Right.
But if someone like a juggalo is thinking, that was doing this same thing, talking about punks, they'd probably say, "Oh, those guys are idiots."
Yeah, because they
vice versa.
Yeah, and they have especially somebody who's been doing it for a time. They were like 15, like in the developmental years. They'll see the positive of it and the whole community thing much better than you do. Just like and their answer would be the same as the answer of the punk guy would be to you. They'll be like, well, it's my thing. It's just what I do. Yeah. It's not, to me, it's not about, the thing you're talking about, how, like to be advance in society, progress forward and better yourself. I just want to listen to the music I listen to, chill with the people I want to chill with. And that's it. Like that's what I want to do.
And that's the thing is I'm not saying, oh, you shouldn't listen to the music you listen to or be who you are.
No, but I mean, like they don't have a greater purpose.
Yeah, but it's more of the fact that it's if you're going to listen to a certain style of music and you want to emulate that, fine. But at a certain age, you should probably learn to, differentiate the how you should be in society for working and how you should be in private life and concerts and stuff. I'm a grunge guy. That's what I am. I'm not putting myself in I'm always grunge. It's like, no, I am. It's just the culture I grew up as a child. In my teen years, I was, Nirvana was big and that whole thing, and Pearl Jam and whatever else, Soundgarden. That's just the whole look. In 90s, mid 90s, whatever, started getting more into the, boy band looks later on. And I was like, no, it's that I'm not going to grab onto something like that. I'm stick with what I have. And yes, to this day, I'm still grunge in that sense, but I don't carry myself in society. It's like, oh, I'm grunge. I'm going to look dirty. I'm going to do this. And I expect to get better job because, it's like, no, if I'm, going to get a better position in my job, I know I need to clean up and dress better and go do what I need to do. I know that, the difference. I need different, I know how to differentiate both of those. And I think some of the, other cultures in music and just how they are, like juggalos, they need to be able to do the same thing. Yes, I know there's some that you do that, and you'd be surprised that they are a juggalo. Mm-hmm. Businessmen, they're all, hoity-toity, whatever, and then they go and see them at concert, and they're like decked out, and they're, completely, you're like, what the hell? But, there are some people who can do that, yes. But I do think that you should be able to tell the difference in when to dress or act, a certain way.
But what you're saying, though, runs counter to the central themes of a lot of this, what this music tells you.
Yes.
From a young age. Do not grow up. The hallmark of maturity, sort of in these things, they say like the hallmark of maturity is sort of your soul being crushed by society. Like you shouldn't go along with that. You should, keep that rage that you have at 17 alive for as long as you can. And so a lot of things are saying, you're like, a lot of people just figure out as they get older, like, look, I can't behave at 27 or 30 the way I do at 16. It's just, you can't get away with it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
you're
the thing.
past the age where you can play stupid.
Yeah,
at that point. But the music that's peddled to them, that they listen to, that they absorb to the people, and that's what I think what separates from it being a culture to you just liking music. When you're in a subculture of this stuff, you absorb it much more so than when the themes of the music, and you take it much more to heart, and you take it as a life philosophy than when you just enjoy the music. I can listen to music that says all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I can listen to music, you can listen to NWA's, fuck the police. Doesn't mean you're gonna go out and like shout it to a cop. It doesn't mean you're not gonna dial 911 when your house gets robbed in. But a lot of people who, if that's like they absorb it as part of their identity, like either that or maybe like vandalism or just not going along with, getting a 9-to-5 job, not going along with paying taxes, not going along with that. Like when it becomes your identity and your culture like that, I think they don't separate the fiction of the song, which is what it is. It's fiction with the facts of life, which is if you want to be part of civilized society, you have to be kind of civilized. You're not really in it. Now, I told you before when I was living in Germany, like the punks there, they can get away with it. The people who are actually in the punk culture, they can get away with not working and, living on the streets and things like that. Some sort of like communal housing that they have with each other, because there's a strong welfare system there. And it's sort of like you can get away with it because a lot of stuff is taken care of for you. If one of them breaks an arm or something, you just walk into the hospital to patch you up, you leave because all the other taxpayers cover that. Here you don't have that.
But that's the difference. Is it's a different culture because they have the free healthcare, which we should have here. But they have that stuff, which is a whole different mindset, a whole different culture. So the punks over there can be punks all their life and not really worry about.
But they're benefiting from the fact that nobody else is. Yeah, they're benefiting from the fact that other people don't. And
but that's the thing is, like I said, it's just the culture is different over there. They have healthcare. They're they can be taken care of without doing anything. They're here. They just be a bum. If they don't work or peddle themselves on the streets to get money, they're not going to eat. Over there, they're going to get food.
So are you saying then the stigma that's sometimes attached with these, or the negative attitude, I should say, towards people who belong to a music subculture? Nothing specific, just any music subculture. It was someone who's really into this, and they absorb to make an identity out of it instead of just being fans of the music. Do you think that it's deserved? I mean, and this can be sort of our closing point on this. Like, do you think that it's deserved? Because I would never say to somebody, an individual is an individual. Like, I could meet somebody as an individual, whatever they are.
Yeah.
Juggalos, whatever, and they could be totally cool. or something like it as an individual. But do you think like as a group, is it sort of, can you see where people are coming from when they sort of like have a negative attitude to somebody who sort of clings to these labels and these identities?
See, that's the thing is, I mean, as a cultural, band or, musical thing, it's, funny to me that some people cling on to it as much as they do and they push it into their actual, regular lives. When there should be that, like I said, that disconnect, that difference between, how they are in private and how they are in public or, in their working career. And I mean, I think that they should be true to what they believe in. They should be true to what, who they are, in a sense. A juggalo is a juggalo, a punk's a punk, a goth's a goth, an emo's an emo. That's what they're going to do. If they want to keep that going throughout their life, they need to be able to adjust it into their age group, in a sense, and what they're doing throughout their life. Don't be stuck to I was 16 when I started this and I was really into it and I'm going to stay into it and I'm going to be 16 forever. No. When you turn 30, if you're trying to act like a 16-year-old, people are going to look at you like, what's up with this guy?
People will be less forgiving.
Yeah. And when you get 60, I'd love to see a 60-year-old trying to be a juggalo and, like, no,
go to Detroit.
It's, the thing is they can't do it. They can't do it like they used to, And so at the age you get, you should not necessarily, I'm not saying, act your age, like, you're 30 now, you need to dress in business suits. No, it's just, you get 30, understand what you're doing. Don't act like a 14-year-old or 16-year-old, tweenie. Just act your age, in a sense, that move on through the life, because you need to make yourself useful to everyone else, in a sense, like your family, not necessarily the whole society, but if you have a family,
start locally.
If you have a family, take care of your family. Don't act like an idiot. Pretty much that's it.
So be yourself, listen to what you want to listen to, but understand that how you express yourself will have consequences. And I think essential out and need to understand that there are people will react to the way you present yourself, and you maybe some will be positive, some will be negative, but don't get too down on yourself. Don't act all offended if all of a sudden, if you're putting out an image of yourself that's sort of essentially negative, and the consequences that a lot of people react to you in kind.
Yeah. Very much.
I didn't expect this topic to go on as long as it did when we first started. But I think we covered a lot of ground with this. Sort of went on for a while. I see that I think we're longer than our usual running time.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe we might rediscover this topic again somewhere down the line. Have to go back to it if we get a lot of hate mail from juggalos. Telling us to come on out down to Detroit to take him on.
Yeah,
them and the whole family.
We'll do a show on the road
as we run away from them or run towards them.
They're a bunch of wimps. We can take them.
We can take them. We'll take them. We'll take one at home.
Anyways,
all right. Well, we'll wrap it up before cameras run out of battery here.
Yep.
Everybody, we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. See you.